it's probably kind of a crapshoot doing a video at 12:30 on a Thursday. Well, I guess it's almost 1 on a Thursday. But I have today off, and there's some things that I would like to get off of my chest. And I frankly, when I have days off recently, I don't really know what to do with myself. So I've been trying to come up with some ideas for some content to do some music videos, some YouTube videos and whatnot. But hi everybody. I'm glad that you could join me. I'm sorry that it's, at noon on a work day. But there's a few things that I want to go through with you guys. Where I've been, what's been going on, etc. Life. I have, at the end of this video, a giant bag. This is one of 8 bags of Lucky Scent samples that I've obtained throughout the years. So I'm gonna go through that. I've got some kerosene samples. I've tried most of his line, but there's what's in here I haven't tried before, other than I picked up a sample of Follow because I had a buddy that wanted some, and my bottle is running low. So I just grabbed him a sample of that as well. I'm gonna go over the last few fragrances I purchased in the last, I guess, maybe a month and a half. I really have slowed down quite a bit, depending on who you are and what your budget is and what you consider slowing down may be different to everybody, my scent of the day too, So first and foremost, let's get out of the way. What is your scent of the day? I actually, funny story about John Pegg, when he first got started on fragrance, when he first started making them with his original bottles and everything, I am the original advertiser for John. I did his, if you look on Google, you'll see a bunch of photos with tools and tractors and shit like that. I took all those. So John, I like John a lot. He's awesome. I've never met him in person, but I'm sure we would get along great. He's a poet. He's a writer. He's a creative. I tend to fall in the same category as all that. I love that stuff. So I think that, and he's very mild-mannered and very, very humble and very nice. So I think it'd be awesome to meet him at some point. He seems like such a stand-up human being. But yeah, so what's your scent of the day? First and foremost, mine is one of, honestly, I don't even, this doesn't happen very often, but sometimes I come across a new fragrance that instantly becomes a favorite. And Gallivant Los Angeles has really crept its way into my top 10 favorites, I think, of all time. I'm not kidding. This is probably my new favorite summer fragrance. Take everything else, all I need is Gallivant Los Angeles. I think it's a very unique, uplifting fragrance, and I've been pretty sad lately, so I've been rocking this here and there. I'm wearing this today. I just love that stuff. So if you haven't checked out Gallivant as a brand, they have some really good ones. Tokyo is a really great peppery incense, woody fragrance. Los Angeles is my favorite. Tokyo is probably my second favorite. They have some really great ones. So that is my scent of the day. Now, let's get the depressing shit out of the way. So I'm not sure how many of you are friends with me on Facebook or whatever, but on October 20th, my best friend passed away. So I've been contending with that for whatever it's been, almost a month or a little over a month now. No, what's today's date? Almost a month. Yeah, it's been hard. There's no words to even do it justice. The crippling emotional roller coaster of dealing with something like that. I've lost my father when I was 14, but he and I weren't super close. He was kind of like not really a big part of my life. But that's the closest thing to experiencing loss like that I've got. Um, and I don't know, I miss him a lot. So dealing with that. Also, I got engaged. Literally almost, I guess, a week and a half after Ben passed away, I ended up getting engaged. I mean, I was planned for months. I planned it for months, so that happened, and so it's been like a very emotional roller coaster of good, bad, shitty, worse, amazing, incredible. I don't know. It's just been such a draining last month. I don't even know. So Ashton from Gen Sense he sent me all of his fragrances to sample, and I think that'll be my first video, like actual video, that I'm going to put out. So that'll be the first video, other than this live stream of me kind of trying to like get my bearings and get back into the swing of things, because I've been taking a lot of time off just trying to wrap my head around this shit. And then on top of that, you got COVID and just the world is burning. But I'm trying to, find a beacon of light somewhere. Curious for you guys, who's the YouTuber that you've been watching most recently? I personally really only watch a handful of people at this point, just because I sample and review and check out things on my own pretty regularly. So I watch Gen Sense pretty often. I definitely watch Mark from Robes08 often. Eugene. There's quite a few people that I check out here and there, but for the most part, those are like the main three that I think I watch most often. But with glimmers of other people. I just don't have time really to watch everybody that I'd like to be able to watch. Yeah, Eugene's good shit. He's a smart guy. He's one of those people that's like definitely in it for the art. You don't see many compliment magnets in his collection. Doing it for the compliments type thing. That's not really his style. Lanier Smith is awesome. I'd love to meet him too. There's so many people that I'd love to be able to meet. But yeah, so I've been working on the last film that Ben and I got to do together before he passed away. I've been editing that with my good friend Mark. Well, he's been editing it really, but I'm in the editing room with him, telling him what I want. And it's coming together really awesome. It's such a cool, self-aware, over-the-top black and white Western movie with like some horror elements in it. So I'm super excited to get that finished. And we were gonna have a premiere, like a movie theater premiere, but New York's movie theaters just shut down again. They just opened up a couple weeks ago, and now they're shut down again. So that's beautiful. But COVID. So, but yeah. So I'm gonna go through. Ben was he was the cinematographer and the editor for the films that we would do together. I met him. He and I met each other in college 4 years ago, and just hit it off like immediately. And yeah, just every film that I've done it's been me as the writer director, and most of the time an acting role, and him as the editor cinematographer. So yeah, I don't really know what I'm gonna do when it comes to that. I mean, finding somebody that you work so well with, and being a best friend and functioning as a business almost, and like doing it well, that's really hard to find. So obviously I could give a shit about that aspect if I could just be like, have him here and he gave up movies or whatever, I wouldn't give a shit. It's, you know, I just miss him as a friend, really. Doesn't, all the other shit doesn't even matter. But yeah, so he was the cinematographer. So I think this movie that we're finishing up is probably some of his best work. It's very like, I don't know if you guys have seen the movie The Lighthouse, but it's very like avant-garde art house type feeling to it. So I'm really excited for people to be able to see it. But yeah, so why don't we get into the fragrances that I purchased most recently. And the first one I'm going to talk about is this guy right here. This isn't the one that I purchased most recently, but this was probably like 3 or 4 weeks ago that I got it. Pure Malt. The story behind this is when I first purchased Pure Malt, I don't know, 9 years ago, I really wasn't blown away by it. I thought it was nice, but it didn't last very well on my skin. It didn't project very well, and maybe like 5 or 6 hours that I got out of it. And I don't know, like Dan Mish, my Mickers, he really liked the fragrance and he was looking for it. At the time, you couldn't find it anywhere, by the way. This was like back when it was Hype Beast and you were spending $300 on it on eBay. But I had gotten my hands on it, and not for like a ridiculous amount of money. Like I was kind of scalping FragranceNet and found a bottle for like $90 and snagged it up, and it was gone pretty soon after that. So I sent him the bottle for free, and he's got a video on YouTube with him doing like an unboxing of it and whatever. But I didn't really care for it. So here we are, almost 10 years later, and I wanted to see if my opinion had changed, because I wanted to kind of do like a Hype Beast, Fragcom Hype Beast type video, right? Where I went over like 10 fragrances that have been hyped to death in Fragcom. You know, your Shergy, your Pure Malt, your New Harlem, etc. So here I am. You know, I've been testing this out again. I wear it probably once a week or twice a week just to see if I've changed my thoughts on it too much. And yeah, it's a fragrance. I guess I don't know. I guess we'll see if things change at all, but I'm not super blown away by Pure Malt. I never really was. It's okay. Then I would like it better, but I think Angelman, especially in its earlier formulations of being really bombastic and loud, is such a daring fragrance, especially for the first couple hours of wearing, that with Pure Malt, it's like a very laid back, very subdued, stripped away version of Angelman in my mind, because Angelman is just so much more interesting for me. Pure Malt is good, but we'll see. We'll see if I change my mind on it. So I'm curious too, before I continue on, what are some fragrances that are on your to buy list? Do you have any that you're like really saving up for, that's like an astronomical amount of money, or any fragrances that you just want to kind of like buy in bulk real quick, or anything you've got your eye on, any vintage, any designer, whatever, it doesn't matter. Just what is on your radar? I'll tell you, for me, I have been loving, yeah, bro, what's up? Why can I not view your comment? Oh, there we go. There we go. Just give me 1 second, guys. I was wondering why. Hi, Dan. How are you? Okay, yeah. So, sorry. My phone is not allowing me to see your comments as they're happening, which is really bizarre. Yeah, so my favorite Thierry Mugler fragrance is Angelman, hands down. Pure Havana is okay, but there's like this really gross artificial cherry note in it, and I really can't stand cherry, so it's hard for me to get by past that. I love Lost Cherry by Tom Ford because that's a very tart cherry. It almost comes off as like wine. But Pure Malt is good. I just think that I would like it better if there was no such thing as Angelman. So anyways, my next fragrance purchase is probably going to be Imaginary Authors Cape Heartache. I've never been a huge fan of like pine in my fragrance. I like the smell of pine, but like it's kind of headache inducing for me, or at least it has been in the past. But Profumum Aromas, Patchouli, and Arso, and Imaginary Authors Cape Heartache, and Memoirs of a Trespasser are probably going to be my next 4 purchases, so that'll be a nice freaking chunk of money. Yeah, L'air de Désert Marocain is incredible. If you haven't tried it, you should definitely try Andy Towers' Un Rose de Kandahar as well. That's personally my favorite from the brand. It's kind of like I don't know, like a very dry rose. It almost smells like French toast a little bit, or like cinnamon toast. It's very interesting. It's musky and got some like cinnamon and stuff like that, and it's very, very, very nice fragrance. I like it a lot. I don't know why it's not talked about all that much, because I think it's his best work personally. But yeah, L'air de Désert is a classic, so I think that's one of those ones where everyone should at least have a decant to be able to appreciate what an original masterpiece that stuff is, because at the time that it came out, it was pretty unique. So Angelman Pure Malt. Next that I purchased not too long ago, I was on a little mini vacation with Catherine. We went to Cleveland, Ohio, just because we'd never been to Cleveland. Yeah. We hadn't been to Cleveland. We decided that we wanted to do kind of an impromptu road trip. So we had decided to go, what was it? I think it was like mid-September. And on that vacation, I had purchased a bunch of samples from Indigo. And Indigo is a really great company. If you guys don't know, they have really great like 1 ml spray vials for like $4 or something like that for their they look like this. So they're like decent size. They're like $4 or $5, something like that. And they come full. So I really like using them for getting samples, and I had purchased the Architects Club, which I ended up clearly getting a full bottle of. I wore all of it there. I loved it. Catherine loved it. I got Imaginary Authors Cape Heartache. I got another fragrance, which I'm actually gonna have to purchase pretty soon here because I absolutely love it, is Dan Sauvage by Chris Collins. Dan Sauvage by Chris Collins. Don't drop it. It's a really similar fragrance to Straight to Heaven, but it's more loud and there's less patchouli. It's more about the spices and the rum and the oak. Whereas Straight to Heaven gets very patchouli and vanilla driven on my skin, which I love the fragrance. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying, if you want a less patchouli induced version, then Chris Collins' Dan Sauvage is incredible, and it's on my purchase list. I'll have to get to that at some point as well. But I ended up getting this. My God, do I love this stuff. If you guys haven't tried it, and you've tried Guerlain's Angelique Noir, it's like a more masculine Angelique Noir. There's more amber and more woods in this, but it smells almost identical to Angelique Noir, but with facets of more woods and more amber. Really, really love that stuff. And if you know me, you know that Angelique Noir is one of my all-time favorite fragrances. So I purchased that pretty quickly. What else do we have here? Finally, I got my hands on Slumber House back. Now, I did have an older bottle, but that's gone. And I've been looking for some Slumber House fragrances. The only one that I've got currently is Or. I need more Kist, or Kisty, however you want to pronounce it. That's my all-time favorite fragrance by Slumber House. Or is probably my second, and Back is up there as well. So when he gets to, you know, re-releasing his line, which hopefully is sooner rather than later, I will be definitely picking up as many as I can get my hands on. So, Back I was able to obtain from a good friend's help. He basically set me up with somebody that was selling the bottle. Yeah, Kerosene is one of my favorite houses too, honestly. I love everything that John does. It's a very special thing when you can find an independent perfumer like that that's just taught themselves without all the hoopla and jumping through the hoops and playing the game and all that kind of stuff. And he kind of keeps to himself and doesn't give up any of his integrity for what he wants his brand to represent. So I think that that's really, really honorable. And I'll be going through a couple samples of his at the end of this video. But anyway, so I was happy that I finally could get my hands on this, because this is just easily one of my favorite fragrances of all time, as well as a couple of the other Slumber House fragrances. I really, really love that house altogether. I would own every fragrance that Josh has come out with in an instant. So big fan of that. If you haven't tried it, when Josh re-releases his brand, his lineup again, hopefully by the end of November, I keep hearing that, you're gonna have to jump on it, because his stuff sells out very quickly, like literally within an hour or two. I'm not kidding. Unless he's mass-produced things this time around, where like Lucky Scent and Twisted Lily is picking up his brand again. I don't know, it's gonna be quick. So what else do we have here for purchases in the last month? I recently had to get the big boy of Baccarat Rouge. Yes. Now, what happened with this is my 70 ml I had gotten about halfway through on my own. Then I had a couple of friends that loved this stuff, and a couple of coworkers that loved this stuff, that kept on asking for like little decants or little samples or blah, blah, blah. And before you knew it, I was nearly done with the bottle. So, because this is a fragrance that I wear very often, I said, fuck it. And I got a big bottle of it. Yeah. Say what you want about Baccarat Rouge. I cannot strip away that it is an absolute people pleaser, a magnet for attention, if that's something that you care about. Personally, a lot of my fragrances are kind of out there, a little bit zany. At this point, I wear what I want to wear for me, and that's generally how most of us navigate. I think every so often we like wearing something that we can share with other people for them to enjoy as well. And for me, Baccarat Rouge is pretty much one of those kinds of fragrances where I do really, really, really enjoy it. I came around to really loving the fragrance, but I totally get why people are underwhelmed by it if they don't like it. And that's okay. That's what all this is about. It's all subjective, and there's no real right or wrong answer. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But anyways, the Baccarat Rouge, I had to get because I was running. I'm actually nearly out of it now because I'm a very generous person. And I did not want to be out of it because I really thoroughly enjoy wearing that fragrance quite a bit, and I know quite a few other people enjoy it. So, and then finally, for my last recent purchase, this is not one that I've had for very long. This is probably, I had decants and decants and decants and decants and decants, and I just never got around to buying a full bottle. There's a couple reasons why. For one, I thought it was such a masterpiece and so different than like most other fragrances that I've ever come across. that I really wanted to do it justice and really take my time with it. Now, at this point, it's been like 8 years or 7 years since its release, right? So I guess I definitely have taken my sweet time with it. But then Dan Mish, my maker's passed away, and this scent really reminds me of him. So I kept on kind of putting it off because I wanted to be able to do it justice. So Enchanted Forest by the Vagabond Prince. Yeah. I don't know, you guys. This is one of my all-time favorite fragrances. I think it is such a unique, sexy creation that just is so, it tells a story, and that's the whole point of the brand. And I love that brand altogether. Base Solo was my first actual bottle purchase from the brand. I absolutely love that stuff too. It's pretty unique fragrance that kind of reminds me of, I think it's Yves Saint Laurent L'Homme, a little bit, like with that citrusy, like polished instrument type smell. It's very interesting. It has a lot of woods and stuff in it. But anyways, Enchanted Forest was my last recent purchase, and that pretty much sums up my fragrances that I purchased within the last month and a half or so. I'm probably inevitably going to sell Pure Malt at some point because I'm just not wowed by it. But all the other fragrances that I've got here are just, in my opinion, stunning. Pure Malt, maybe I'll come around to, but we'll see. So that concludes the purchases, and now I'm going to move forward with some samples. If you want to stick around with me and check out some samples that I've got here. Arso is really good. Hermes is a great house. I love Eau Très Fresh. That's one of my favorite designer fragrances. And Ombre Narguilé is incredible. There's some fragrances from Hermes that I don't particularly care for because they're a little too transparent, stripped away, whatever. And I'm not a huge fan of vetiver, so like Voyage d'Hermes never really did it for me. It's a quality fragrance. I can't say that it's not a quality fragrance or anything like that, but yeah, Hermes definitely has some really wonderful fragrances. So let's go to kerosene first. Okay, let's do the kerosene thing. I got his little card in there, and we have the two in here that I haven't tried, because there's 3 here, but like I said, I purchased another sample of Follow because I had a buddy that really likes Follow, so I wanted to give him some of that. But there's Blackmail. So this is Blackmail. I don't know if the camera's gonna be able to pick it up, but whatever. That's Blackmail. And this is his newest, Sweetly Known. Sweetly Known and Blackmail. So we'll start with those. I'm gonna be doused in fragrance by the end of this. Let's do Sweetly Known first. So this will be just some quick first impressions. Again, kerosene. Follow is one of my all-time favorite fragrances. I love Unknown Pleasures. I love Unforsaken. Those are probably like my 3 favorites. But I love Rude Elements. I love Santalum Slivers. I love Canfield Cedar. I love, what the heck? Copper Skies is actually another one of my favorites. That's just such a good amber, cinnamon, clove bomb, and I love it. It's got some vanilla in it. Just wonderful. So I'll spray this, and I'm going to spray my other hand with Blackmail. Okay, so first off with Sweetly Known. It's very sharp. What's interesting about Kerosene's Gourmands is they all have this like dusty quality about them, where at first it's like, it's not a powder, it's like a dust. Like cocoa dusted almonds. It's got that same vibe to it. although it's not cacao or cocoa. It's more like a vanilla meets library leather-bound book dustiness. And I really enjoy that about it. I don't know if I'm crazy or I'm the only one that gets that, but I get that quality from a lot of Kerasin's gourmands. I have not tried Amouage Epic Woman, but I'm actually putting a giant sample haul for Lucky Scent. So if you have any samples of fragrances that you think that I should check out, please feel free to recommend them to me, because I'm getting ready to order some shit from Lucky Scent, probably at the end of the week. But Sweetly Known has a really nice, it starts out as like this sharp citrus, but has now blended in with like a weird, dusty, vanilla, tonka bean, sweet orange. Like I don't know, like a blood orange or a mandarin orange. Not like a super bright, straight up citrus orange juice orange. It's more of a dark orange. I really like it though. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Unknown Pleasures. It's not exactly like it, but it's, you know, it's in the same vein as that. So maybe when you check it out, go into it thinking that, you know, they have some similarities. I think you could, just based off of first impressions, you could definitely own both, because there's some differences between the two just based off of the first whiff here. But yeah, so Blackmail. Wow. I really like that a lot. That's like a burning wood accord of some kind with like incense. It's really smoky. It's actually a lot smokier than I thought. A smoky incense, burning wood, oud. And like the slightest tinge of a sweet fruit, but like it's barely there on my skin. I'm not sure what that is. A red fruit, maybe. I really like that. I might have to pick that up. We'll see how long it lasts and everything, but that's right up my alley. I love smoky, dark, woody, incensey fragrances. Yeah, that's good. That's really good. So yeah, those are the two kerosene samples that I've got here. I really, really enjoy both of them. I think that they're both quality. I'm leaning more toward Blackmail right now, though, just because it has it's pretty unexpected, to be honest with you, how smoky it is. I really, really enjoy that. Almost in the same vein as Amouage Interlude Man. It's not nearly as amped up as that, but that same smokiness that you get toward the end of the fragrance, or even a Naomi Goodsir Bois d'Essence, if you've ever tried it. That's a very like campfire, true to life campfire smoke. Almost borderline like unwearable, unless you want to literally smell like the smoke on your clothes after a bonfire. But it's not like that. It's just a very subdued smoke, and I really, really like it. So, sorry guys, bear with me for 1 second. Yeah, please don't forget to let me know if there's any fragrances that you know that you can get from Lucky Scent that you think I should be trying out. And again, let me know what your scent of the day is. Oh, that explains it. That does explain it, doesn't it? Sure does. Oh, that's annoying. Just 1 second, guys. I'm going to go through this bag of... got a text message from my job. I had to do something real quick. I'm gonna go through this baggie here. Pick out some stuff with you guys to sample. Dump the whole thing. Let's see what we got here. All right, so Santal 33 sample. Don't need to sample that because I have a video on it. I don't know what that's doing in here. Okay, great. So we have Farmacia SS Annunciata. Farmacia SS Annunciata. This is called Whiskey Oud, and this has been on my list of fragrances to purchase for like 4 or 5 months now. I love this stuff. So here we go. Hello, Rush. How are you today? Hope you're feeling good, my dude. I'm kind of hanging in there. Figured I would distract myself by doing some live videos and stuff like that. Yeah, Whiskey Oud. My God, guys, it's like such a true to life, unsweetened whiskey with just a campfire. Oh, that's so bold and in your face, but in a very wearable way. It's actually like, it's kind of on the cusp of being a little obnoxious, but as far as I can tell with the sample, it doesn't project a whole lot. Typically speaking, when I use like half the sample on myself, I can get a pretty good idea of how it's going to project and whatnot, even with these little samples. And it seems like, you know, you have to be a solid foot away or so to smell it. So I think it's one of those where it can be a little bit daring without being annoying, which is good. Yes, well, I'm glad that you're feeling better, Rush. And I'm glad you're here with me. I'm trying not to smoke cigarettes, by the way. I've been smoking like a pack ever since Ben passed away. I've been smoking like a pack a day because I'd quit for 8 months and now we're back at it. So I haven't had a cigarette in 2 days. Next up is Histoire de Parfums, Ernest Hemingway. So let's just get this on here. Let's turn this into a buy, try, or pass, shall we? So Whiskey Oud is a buy for me. The kerosene fragrances, I think Black Male is a buy for me, and I think Sweetly Known is a good, solid try. If you already have Unknown Pleasures, and maybe, I mean, I do, so I probably won't purchase it because they smell a little bit similar, but yeah, so Ernest Hemingway. This is a very similar to Spice Bomb and Initio's Rehab, but there's something in here that I really don't like. It has like a, yeah, there's something in there that reminds me of like old lady soap. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but like the quintessential old lady soap where you go into like the floral printed wallpapered bathroom with like the shitty 90s smelling Lysol. It's just, it stinks. I don't like it. It smells like that that gooey room freshener shit that you have to like open up that's in the plastic container and it's like all gooey and stuff that makes your bathroom smell good. There's something in there that reminds me of that, and I really don't like it. But supposedly, it smells a whole lot like Spice Bomb and Initio to a lot of people. I can see the similarities, but it has that quality about it that's really turning me off. Next on here is a fragrance that is also on my buy list. So for Ernest Hemingway, it's a pass for me. But this is from, gosh, there's no way I'm going to be able to pronounce this. Piotr space CZARNECKI. Okay? It's Shahan EDP. Shahan. SHIHAN. This is such a good fragrance. I think if you're a fan of Kerosene's Follow, then you're gonna like this. It's like it's got that really rugged black coffee note with like some slight creaminess with some pot. There's some pot in there, and there's like some cinnamon and clove. In a lot of ways, it reminds me of all the smells that you might get in a Michael's store. So like there's some woodiness, there's some spiciness from like the candle aisle with the cinnamon and stuff like that. I really, really enjoy it. It's as if you toked up and you smoked a nice fat J and it's lingering on your clothes, and then you go and fucking gallivant around in Michael's. That's kind of what I get. I like it a lot. So that is a buy for me. This next one is L'Artisan Claire Vanille. This was just released this summer. I don't remember which month it was, but I'm pretty sure it was like maybe May or June. And that's a nice scent. It's a very suntan lotion, like bronzer suntan lotion meets sweet vanilla. And if that's what you're into, then I think it's a good, solid fragrance. I think L'Artisan makes some really good quality fragrances that are like simplistic. A lot of times they're transparent, and they're kind of like cut to the chase sort of fragrances where what you smell in the opening is usually what you get throughout the life of the fragrance. And I really like how they approach fragrance, and I'm a big fan of the brand. But this one in particular isn't one that I would purchase. It's something that I could wear once in a while, but it's kind of along the same lines as Fire Island by Bond Number 9, but there's a lot of vanilla in it, whereas Fire Island is just very like tuberose heavy and suntan lotion heavy, whereas this has a little bit of a gourmand quality to it. A little bit more of a sea breeze smell to it as well. There's some saltiness. But I like it. It's definitely something to look forward to if you want to find something new for the summertime. This is MFK's Amorous Porom. Amorous Porom is one that I've worn and other people have really enjoyed it on me. And I do like Amorous Porom, I really do, but the problem for me is this. It smells really pleasant. It smells like really, really freaking pleasant, right? But it's just so simple and like smells like it would come from the Dior house. It smells like a Dior fragrance or a Chanel fragrance, and for that, like, I don't know, it's in way too high of a price bracket for me. I think you're getting kind of a designer quality with a niche price, and maybe I'll change my mind because I don't know. This is a really nice, pleasant fragrance. It is something for me. If it's a person who wants like one niche fragrance, and they want it to be a fragrance that they can utilize anytime at the office, casually, date night, whatever, then I would consider recommending this because, yeah, it's everything. It's everything. It's sweet. It's fresh. It's sexy. It's, professional smelling and uplifting. I don't know. I think it's a really wonderful fragrance, Amorous Homme, and worth checking out if you haven't checked it out. I love MFK in general. I love most of his fragrances, and I love what he brings to the table in perfumery. But this is one that I've been teeter-tottering with for quite some time. I first tried this back in the spring, and I was like gung-ho about it for the first couple weeks, that I would sample it, you know, every couple days or whatever. And then I decided that it was like too designer-like for me to purchase. But I think that inevitably I'll end up getting a bottle of it, to be honest with you. It's just it's a very solid release and a very solid everyday fragrance. And when it comes time for me to kind of pick and choose some fragrances that I'm going to get rid of, I'll probably end up like splurging and getting something like that that's more of an everyday use fragrance. Because there's some stuff that I've got in my wardrobe that I just don't utilize, and I'm never going to utilize, because they're just, I'm bored with them at this point. So we'll see. This next one here is what? Well, we won't go over that one because I think I've got a review on that somewhere. That was Patchouli 24. Towers Lone Star Memories. So, oh god, sorry about that, guys. Towers Lone Star Memories. Let's see here. Lone Star Memories is one that I don't own a bottle of, but I have strongly considered time and time again throughout the last like 8 years purchasing a bottle of this. Yeah. What the fuck am I doing? Why am I not buying it? That's the question at hand. This Lone Star Memories, I'm sure that, you know, if you guys have been around for some of my stories with like loving Western films and utilizing that style in my own films, you know, the Purple Dragon that I did last summer, and not the summer that we just went through, but 2019. That's winning all these awards and stuff. Like, I really utilize the spaghetti Western aesthetic. I love it. I swear to God, I was a cowboy in a past life or something, because even when I play like Red Dead Redemption 2 or whatever, or the first one, I feel very like at peace and at home when I see that kind of landscape. And when I've traveled to go visit my Uncle Mark, because he's in the military, anytime he's been stationed somewhere like out west, Texas, New Mexico, whatever, I love those states. I just feel very like at peace in that particular environment. So for Lone Star Memories by Andy Tower, yeah, it's a very, I don't know, it's a very cowboyish leather. I could totally see the vision that he was going for with that. And even if it's just something that I were to spritz on for like when I write, I don't know if there's any of you in here that like to write or do any kind of creative things outside of, you know, this hobby. But when I write certain things, I have to wear certain things, you know, if I'm trying to portray a character that's a certain way. And I think sometimes I like to be able to put myself in certain environments. So if I was to wear something like Lone Star Memories, it could put me in that kind of environment. So I mean, the same way that like Mona de Orio's Cure, that's like the most cowboy, animalic, primitive leather I've ever smelled, and I love it. So that does the same thing for me. But yeah, I think Lone Star Memories is something that I'll inevitably end up picking up as well at some point. Now these are certainly not purchases. I purchase at most like 3 a month at this point. And generally speaking, I rotate things out. It's either when a bottle of something else is emptied, or I've sold something or whatever. Like, it's almost like a trade-off that way, because I really don't want my collection to get above 50. Because at that point, I just feel cluttered. I feel like I'm not using things or utilizing things. I would say that there's a solid 15 or 20 that I'm never, ever, ever going to get rid of, and that I'll just like slowly make my way through. Maybe 30. Because at this point, I generally purchase things that are like, I know that they're going to stay in my collection. With the exception of something like, you know, the Pure Malt, where I wanted to just revisit it, and it was on sale for what, $65 or something. So I said, screw it. But those are generally the ones that I would utilize to rotate out and then buy something that I know that I'll wear. So next up is by Killian's Black Phantom. Now, this for me, God, I'm picking a lot of ones that I have been teeter-tottering around with. So I must have picked that bag. I section off each bag for like a certain particular goal in mind. Like this one is clearly the ones that all the ones that I've thought about potentially purchasing, but I haven't made a decision one way or the other yet. Whereas I have some that, bags that are just like, these are absolutely revolting and disgusting, and I got to figure out a way to get rid of them. Or there's bags that I have where I haven't touched them in years, and it's just kind of like my meh bag, right? So I got to figure something out with that. But Black Phantom. Black Phantom really heavily reminds me of Bond Number 9, New York Love for All, which I believe has been discontinued. So it's like that chestnut, cocoa, patchouli, whatever concoction, very sweet. And it also really heavily reminds me of By the Fireplace by Mason Margiela. And I don't think that you need all three of those in order to get to itch the scratch, you know what I mean, that you're going for this kind of gourmand. Unless you really love that category and that's like your favorite kind of fragrance, I think owning all three of those is a little redundant and unnecessary. I think By the Fireplace is actually a better fragrance than Black Phantom, and they give me very similar vibes. So yeah, Black Phantom's probably a pass. I mean, you should certainly try it at the very least, because there's a lot of people that do really enjoy it. But for me, I've smelled it before, and for the price point that it's at, it's like what, 200, 220 or something like that for a 50 ml bottle of it. I think I can go without. Comptoir Sud Pacific Vanille Banane. So, vanilla banana. Gotta find a spot that I don't have stuff. Oh God. I actually really like the smell of this, but I find it very juvenile. And I'm not being judgmental for if there's anybody out there that really likes the smell and likes to wear it a lot. Maybe not. Maybe it was just that initial artificial banana. I don't know. That's I feel like Vanille Banane would do better to have something that had some balls in the background, like a really heavy cedar or something like that could go really well with it, because it's vanilla and banana. And I think just having a little bit more of a backbone would make it so that it would smell a little less artificial. Yeah, Back to Black is definitely one of my favorite by Killian fragrance. It's actually one of my favorite fragrances of all time. But I get that. A lot of people, honestly, when I wear Back to Black, there's only probably a handful of people that love it on me, and then everybody else just says it smells like baby powder, which I don't know if that's something that irritates you guys, but I get really annoyed when you spend that kind of money and then you hear dumb shit like, it smells like powder, it smells like powder. I got that a lot with Dior Homme Intense, the vintage bottles. Guys, when Dior Homme Intense was big back in the day, right? Really big, and it was sought after heavily. I had 5 vintage bottles of Dior Homme Intense, sold every one of them. You know why? Because anytime I'd wear it, people would just be like, you smell like baby powder. I can't stand that. I really can't. It was unfortunate. And, Dior Homme Intense Vintage, that's one of my biggest regrets, getting rid of that fragrance, because it was at a time when I was letting that dictate what I like to wear. When I would hear negative feedback, I would let that dictate what I like to wear. And I don't do that anymore, but at the same time, I do still find it rather obnoxious when I hear those comments over and over again when you spend good money on something and it's something that you really like. I'm not sure if that bothers any of the rest of you out there, but it sure does bother me. Yes, thank you, Amber. I appreciate it. Yeah, no, I don't know what else there is to say about it, to be honest with you, but I do appreciate you saying that. Trying to navigate life right now is really shitty. I don't know any other way to say it other than that. It's just been such a it's hard because everything comes in waves. So there's days where I feel almost guilty that I'm on the verge of having fun with somebody, or that I feel a little bit normal. Then I have days where I can't get out of bed. So it is what it is. Oh yes, okay. So this is definitely, by the way, I just picked a really good one. Yeah, thank you, Rush. I appreciate it. I definitely need to, Rush. You and I need to have a phone call sometime soon. I've got things to discuss with you. So Nishane Ani is definitely going to be my next, my actual next purchase that's in line. I have really been loving this. I've been loving this for probably close to about 8 months and just keep on putting it off. I don't know why. Yeah, boy, oh boy. To me, it's a really nice citrusy sandalwood vanilla. It's very, very, it seems heavy at first, but it becomes like lighter and fluffier as the fragrance goes on. Yeah. So Ani by Nishane. I'm a huge fan of the brand Nishane. Hachivat, I own that. The 1.7 ounce. That's really, really nice fragrance. It's definitely got similarities to Aventus, but it's a lot more citrus heavy and has a little bit more of a effervescent feeling to it. And for me personally, Fan Your Flames is my favorite Nishane fragrance that I own as well. And I have a review of that, of both of them. I don't know if I have a Hachivat review. I don't think I do. But I do have a review of Fan Your Flames, which I absolutely adore. Wonderful tobacco-based fragrance with some rum and coconut. But anyway, so Ani is definitely going to be my next purchase by Nishane because I think it's probably my second favorite from the brand, Fan Your Flames being my favorite. So I think that's definitely going to happen. What do we got here? So this is called Calage or Calage Perfumes. Calaj space perfumes. And this is called Ocean. Oshun. I don't remember this one way or the other, to be honest with you. I have no idea what this is going to smell like because I don't recall. So we'll see if I'm way off. Oh, damn. Okay. Definitely a lot of citrus. There's like a vegetal note in there that I don't particularly care for. I don't think I feel one way or another about Hachivat versus Orion. I think Tiziana Terenzi in general is a brand that I really tend to enjoy. I like Orion. I like Hachivat. I don't see the need to own those two and Aventus. What happened was I ran out of my Aventus bottle and then I purchased Hachivat because I knew that it smelled, similar. To get that same fix, it's the same as like the Mancera Cedrat Boise. I don't need 15 different selections of the same basic formula of fragrance for me personally. If people want to do that, that's great. That's their prerogative. But for me, I don't need all those. I think Orion is a really well done fragrance. I really do enjoy it, and it probably, I don't know for you, but Hachivat is freaking beast mode, and it lasts forever and a day on my skin. Um, but it's a little less loud. Although I sprayed it on 3 times once, and I walked into work, and everyone said they could smell me before I got into the next room. So I don't know. It's one of those, but sneaks up on you. But I think honestly, if I were to purchase another fragrance that's in the same vein as that, I would probably just get a Ventus again. Yeah, I just I don't need, first of all, a citrus-based fragrance in the first place is usually something that I don't gravitate toward. My favorite citrus-based fragrance is Bigarade Concentré by Frederic Malle, and that's like, you know, or, you know, Eau Très Fresh by Hermes. Those are the kinds of citruses that I like. They're a little bit more unique, a little bit more daring, a little bit more true to life. But I can't deny that, you know, Aventus-like fragrances or Hachivat or whatever garner compliments and do the whole like daily wear fragrance thing very well. And if it's something where you have a wardrobe consisting of like 5 fragrances, then a fragrance like that is pretty crucial, I think. But I'm more of a gourmand lover, more of a smoky incense, you know, woody type fragrance, oriental type fragrance. Those are really what I gravitate toward in the first place. So I have my selections of fragrances that I think do really well with crowd pleasing in those categories. So like Mason Francis Kirkchen's Grand Soir, one of my favorite fragrances of all time, but it's a people pleaser. People love that stuff. I honest to God think that whenever I wear it, someone's asking me. That is one of the most sought after fragrances that I've ever owned in my life, where I've worn it and people have asked me like, could you write that down? Whatever, blah, blah, blah. So I tend to find my go-to fragrances for things like that in those categories. Well, I appreciate that. I'm glad that you enjoy the videos and that I can bring some happiness or some knowledge or whatever it is. Bring some hate. If people hate me, that's okay too. My favorite Eldo fragrance is Jasmine Et Cigarette. I have a review of it on here. That's a really unique fragrance. I really, really enjoy. Oh shit! I'm gonna forget the name of it now. Fin de Monde. Fin de Monde. I really, really enjoy that fragrance as well. The popcorn, tonka bean, buttery iris fragrance. It's very much an iris-based fragrance, along the same lines as Dior Homme, if you haven't tried it. So it's got that, but it's got a little bit more of a unique take on it. I really love that, and I really love Jasmine. Jasmine Et Cigarette is definitely my favorite Eldo fragrance, and I love Fat Electrician too. That's been something that's really been something that I have gravitated toward for the last 10 years. I'm sorry, guys. I'm using my phone and... Thanks, Rush. I appreciate it. Yeah, so I really appreciate all the compliments, guys. I just try to keep it real, man. Like I've been a part of this community since there was only like 10 of us. And people can surpass me in numbers, they can surpass me in popularity, and I'm happy for them. I don't become disgruntled based on, well, I've done this for so many years and I don't have a fragrance line that was offered to be, you know, made for me, and I don't have partners, and I don't make money. I don't make any money on this either. But that's not ever been my goal. My goal has always just been to inform and enjoy. This is truly a hobby for me. It's I have things that I consider like like my movie making thing. Like I love doing it, and if I make it in that realm of being able to as a profession, I'm never going to work a day in my life. I mean, that's just true. But then there's things that I have that are just truly hobbies, and that's this. I don't know that I would ever really want to turn this into a lucrative adventure, because I just, well, I probably would think about it intently and definitely consider it. I just wouldn't want to take away and strip away my voice, and I've always been one of those people that's been very blunt, probably almost to a detriment, to be honest with you, but it's okay. I really enjoy making the content that I do, the way that I do it, and I enjoy it just as much as you do. If you enjoy watching me, just know that like I enjoy making it. I'm making it for you in the way that I make it, because I see a bunch of reviewers out there that really don't keep it real. I'm not gonna go into names or anything because this isn't a contest. I don't care what people do. I don't care what their prerogative is. If people come into it wanting to make money, then that's good for them. And you can certainly, as an adult, tell who's doing what for what reason. And if there's certain people you want to watch for the entertainment factor, there's certain people you want to watch for the knowledge factor, there's certain people you want to watch for just the over-the-top ridiculous factor, then that's okay. There's many reasons why you'd watch certain reviewers for certain aspects of their contributions to the fragrance community, and I'm just one of many. And I personally very humbled by the fact that there's so many people that enjoy watching me that are actually like in the realm of being much more lucrative and successful than me. And it just goes to show that sometimes the stripped back real route is the route that people tend to really gravitate toward when you're talking about things like the knowledge and the artistry and the creativeness behind perfumery. But again, it's all, I mean, take Ashton, for example. I love his content because it's very like, it's very middle of the road between the realm of like commercial, but also that everything that he says. Well, Ashton's a friend of mine too, so I mean we talk or whatever, and I personally know that he's just such a fucking wonderful human being, and everything that he says holds truth, and he's never gonna direct people in down a negative path when it comes to fragrance, and he's never going to do it based on hype or anything like that. So I love his channel for that, because I can watch something and get something that I need within 8 or 10 minutes of watching a video, being informed. But also it's like he pumps them out daily, whereas you might get a video from me once a month, or there might be months where I don't make anything. And I understand that in order to make it in this particular realm, you have to be making content, 2, 3, 4 times a week in order to get ahead. But that, again, that's just not the route that I took. So either way, I appreciate anyone that enjoys watching my dumbass on YouTube and being able to create a dialogue with you guys. I mean, that's what life's all about, right? Like human connection. And I appreciate that, Rush. The reviewer that reviewers watch. Yeah, I definitely appreciate that. I mean, for me, when I first started, it was all about, I gravitated towards Mark a lot. Mark is one of my absolute favorite people in the fragrance community. And he really helped me navigate becoming a reviewer, because I was I was a kid. I was 18 or 19 when I started. And there was definitely like a lot more. I mean, I don't know if there's more. I didn't know how to navigate being trolled. I didn't know how to navigate criticism and whatever. I had all this testosterone and built up angst. And he really kind of helped me navigate being a young reviewer. And I really appreciated that. So I've always watched him as a means to gain knowledge. So that being said, I figured that I would always make my content in the same way that Mark makes his content, where it's more of commiserating over the art of it all and the knowledge of it all. But either way, I'm just glad to be here, and I'm glad to share the joy that it brings, to share some knowledge, to share some objective or subjective perspectives. And I mean, we're all in this thing called life together, and why not enjoy it together, right? So, yeah, I've thought about doing some more film and anime content and stuff like that, video games, whatever, and I'll probably definitely pursue that. Um, there's a lot going on right now, so I'm trying to just kind of take my sweet time and be kind to myself in that way, because there's just days that I'm just like so fed up that I can't even be bothered to do anything, and then there's days where I feel like I've got the energy to do things. So it's just one of those. And I think that's always been my problem too with the YouTube reviewing thing. I could never get on like a schedule other than wanting to do it when I want to do it, because then it felt fake to me to keep on keeping on when the spark had kind of disintegrated. But yeah, so let's keep on keeping on with this. Aqua Universalis Forte, to finally get to your question about whether I've changed my mind or not on Aqua Universalis Forte. Yes, I have. That was at a time when I did not like florals very much, and I actually love florals now. And that's how we should all do our reviews, when we're feeling inspired, you know? But yeah, so Aqua Universalis Forte is definitely a quality fragrance. I think it's a very, very nice, clean spring and summer fragrance. I think it actually pretty well screams spring to me. But again, there's other fragrances that I just prefer over it that would scream spring, like Dior Homme or Green Irish Tweed or whatever. I don't lean toward that category of fragrance very often. The clean smelling citrus fragrance category, it's just not really my cup of tea for the most part, because there are some really great ones out there, but I get very bored by them. So having a couple is good for me. Millésime Imperial, like I said, Millésime Imperial, Big Rod Concentré. Like I keep on mentioning Los Angeles Gallivant's Los Angeles rather. If you want a floral that smells good and clean and crisp and sexy, go check that out if you haven't. So let's see here. Let's go on to the next sample. I got Frappin's Luminous, but I own a bottle of that, so there's no need for us to talk about that. What's the next one we got here? We got Bodacia the Victorious Glorious. This is a fragrance that is definitely on my buy list. I'll tell you that right off the bat. This is something that I have been wanting for a really, really long time, probably close to about 6 years now. Just a clean. God, I might actually splurge and buy this today, to be honest with you. There's like I don't know, like strawberry in it or something, some other fruits, and there's like a really, really nice, clean, sexy, but with some spice. There's like some spice and some fruitiness, some muskiness. I really, really love it. I really do. I'm not sure if you guys have tried Rania J's line, but Rania J's Musk is also on my to buy list. It's a strawberry driven musk fragrance. So it's clean, but it's got like some animalic notes to it, and then just like this really beautiful true to life strawberry. And it kind of glorious and that fragrance, Rania J's Musk, are very much in the same vein for me. And I find that's the kind of clean fragrance that I like, where there's like some facets of like dirtiness, there's some facets of spiciness or whatever. It's not just like a clean cut, you smell clean and crisp and whatever, out of the shower type fragrance. Those really just don't do it for me. Your Mugler's cologne, your Allure Homme cologne, your Hermes Voyage d'Hermes, those just don't really tickle my fancy. So let's see what we got here. Oh, speaking of Rania J, we got Lavande 44. I'm running out of skin, you guys. Lavande 44. That's another one I really want. Oh, man, you guys. Lavande 44 is as if Sartorial from Penhaligon's and MDCI's Invasion Barbare had a baby. There's some rough around the edge lavender with some skankiness that's coming from like a musk or something that quickly transitions into a really nice lavender vanilla fougere. Yeah, so my samples that I get are, I mean, I've just got a giant bag right here. I've got about 8 of these. I sample a lot from Lucky Scent. They're a little overpriced for the tiny little freaking samples that you're getting, so it's a little irritating. But I use them. I use Twisted Lily and I use Indigo. They're all great companies to purchase your samples from. A Twisted Lily and Indigo are especially my go-tos because you get an actual spray vial and it's usually like about 1 ml, I think. Whereas these are like what, 0.7 mLs or 0.5 mLs, something like that. Yeah, so I prefer using them, and they're like $4 across the board for the most part for any of their samples. Whereas these can vary from anywhere from $3 to, you know, $15 for this tiny ass amount. So I'm not a big fan of using Lucky Scent in that regard, but I can usually get an example of like a good fragrance versus bad fragrance, an enjoyable fragrance, etc. What I'm going to get out of it, if I'm going to like it, if it's full bottle worthy from a small sample like this, pretty easily, and I've utilized them for a really long time. If I could bring my ankles up to my face, I would do that, but I'm not that stretchy. So what do we got now? Fragrance Du Bois Santal Complete. This is another one that has been on my radar for probably 6 or 8 months. It's the only fragrance Du Bois that I've really strongly considered. It's actually sitting in my cart at Lucky Scent, for my Lucky Scent cart right now, because I keep on teeter-tottering whether or not I want to purchase it. It's like $350 for 100 ml, which isn't the worst, but it's expensive, you know, especially for what you're getting. Now, Santal Complete, gotta find a spot where I might only be able to do about 2 more samples, you guys, because I'm running out of spots here. Santal Complete, oh, that's the reason why I've been teeter-tottering so much. Parfumerie Generale has a fragrance called Indian Wood, which smells significantly similar to Santal Complete. Now, with Indian Wood, you can get it for, I don't know, it's like a 50, I believe it only comes in a 50 ml if I remember correctly, but who knows. Parfumerie Generale is one of those weird ones where some of their fragrance only come in a 50 ml available bottle versus some of them having both 50 ml and 100 ml. And I just can't remember if it was an option where it was only a 50 ml. But I digress. So Indian Wood and Santal Complete are like freaking neck and neck similar, and Indian Wood just is significantly cheaper. Is which one overly powdery? The Santal Complete or the Indian Wood, or which one? Yeah, Santal Complete, I wouldn't call it powdery, but it's like, it's definitely unisex. Like, it's definitely like man or woman could pull it off, and it's definitely vanilla sandalwood. I mean, that is essentially what I get from start to finish is vanilla sandalwood. Sandalwood's one of my favorite notes of all time, so that's why it's, you know, 1725, I would say, is a little bit more powdery than Santal Complete. I love that one. It's actually 1725 is definitely more powdery. 1725 on my skin is like powdery to the point where the first 15 minutes smells like I dumped like baking powder on my skin or whatever. Not baking powder, flour or something like that on my skin. It's like that powdery to the point where it comes off as being like flour or whatever. Santal Complete isn't like that, but again, it's like it's such a linear fragrance, and for the price point that you're getting the fragrance, unless you're able to find it for a discount. Again, it's one of those where I think if I was to find the 50 ml for like 120 bucks, I would buy it. It'd be a no-brainer for me. But 350 for 100 ml, I'm really struggling to. It's gonna sit there for a while. Inevitably, I think I'm gonna try to find a deal or a used bottle or something like that on eBay. But it's just a cozy sandalwood. There's definitely some powderiness to it, but it's not to the level of 1725. It's not to the level of that or like a Burberry's Touch or whatever. It's definitely got some of that in there, but it goes away and it just becomes like a really wearable, easy to wear, sensual vanilla sandalwood. I really like it. So there's that. That I've got a bottle of Creation E by Rozier. Ooh, here we go. Let's talk about the big brand that everyone keeps on freaking tooting their horn about. It's fucking Parfum. It's Parfums de Marly 2.0. These BDK Parfums. I got a spot somewhere. I know I do. Here we go. This is BDK Parfums Rouge Smoking. I hate the name, by the way. I don't like it when... It doesn't matter, but this is me being nitpicky. I don't like it when a brand or a company utilizes both French and American language in the same name. Just stick to a theme. BDK Rouge Smoking. I don't get it. Now, for me, oh shoot, which one is it that Demi Rolling keeps on talking about that's BDK? It's the, I've got it somewhere. Hang on one second, guys. I've got this jar here. It's like a jar full of samples that are 3 ml, 5 ml, whatever. Some zoologist and beaver and chameleon. I went through a bunch of zoologist fragrances. Here it is. I went through a bunch of zoologist fragrances with my fiance not too long ago, and we just, I think right at the beginning of quarantine, and we just made a night of it, and it was a lot of fun. She ended up getting me squid for our anniversary. So I really like Zoologist as a brand a lot. I think that they're very unique and a lot of fun, and they definitely pay attention to detail. So anyways, BDK's Rouge Smoking is the one fragrance out of the line that I think is like good, you know, like really good. Consider purchasing it good. But on my skin, it's really close to my skin. It's like so close to my skin that it almost seems as though it disappears within 5 or 6 hours, which I could deal with if it was a little less pricey, but I believe BDK is about $160 or $180 for a bottle. And for me, that's just kind of, I don't know. I'm gonna have to get a spray sample and see how that does, because this stupid Lucky Scent sample is not gonna do it justice, I don't think. But the BDK Smoking Rouge is just a really nice, like, cotton candy, slight smoke, floral. I enjoy it. I think there's some tonka bean in there. There's some fruits, that's lending itself to kind of coming across as like this whimsical, puffy cotton candy smell with some smoke, and it definitely has like a rouge color for me. I would say that if you like Baccarat Rouge 540, then you would like this fragrance. So, but that brings me to my next point. This Gris Charnel by BDK. Let's see if I can. Okay, so this is the one that Demi Rolling keeps on talking about. Yeah, dabbers are good for like an initial impression, but if I really grow to like something, then I'll end up getting like a 1 to 5 ml sample from some seller on a fragrance forum or eBay or whatever, and have to figure it out that way if it's something that I want to end up buying. But yeah, so this I found to be. Why don't I just do this? Get a piece of paper out and start spraying some of those since I'm running out of skin here. Yeah. I like this scent a lot, okay? So BDK's Gris Charnel, which is the one that, again, Demi Rolling is really, really, really hyping up. It's a black tea based fragrance. Yeah, that is pretty good. It smells, to me, I don't know. Again, I don't have the note line up in front of me, so if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But to me, it's very much like a black tea and iris type fragrance, with some spiciness to it. Cardamom. There's definitely cardamom in here. Yeah, cardamom, black tea. So it's like sensual, almost rubbery smelling. Sometimes black tea does that for me. It comes off as like a little bit rubbery. So sensual, clean, sexy. I definitely need to wear that more because I see the draw to Gris Charnel. I do see the draw to it. But to the level of like her rolling her eyes in the back of her head thing, I don't know. I don't know about that. I mean, that's all subjective, obviously, but for me personally, I don't know about that. So, Rouge Smoking and Gris Charnel are the only two that I've tried that I really liked, though. The Tobacco Rose or Rose Tobacco one was okay. Yeah, Rush, I think you'd probably like it then. And speaking of Bulgari Black, it definitely has that same quality, but Bulgari Black, for me anyways, is definitely more of a vanilla smoky, rubbery type scent. So it's more about the tea, the black tea, and the cardamom, and some cleanliness as far as I can tell. But yeah, the Rouge Smoking is definitely the one that I right off the bat, I personally am more drawn to. But I do like this. I do like it a lot. The Gris Charnel is definitely nice. I think that they're both worth looking into. But the Rose Tobacco I didn't care for. It was very heavy, like freaking intense. And rose for me is kind of a love-hate thing. If it's a drier rose that's mixed with more gourmand elements, then I tend to like it. Or even if it's a juicy, like green rose that's mixed with gourmands, I'll like it. But if it's like more cleanliness mixed with rose, it comes off as being very mature to me, very dated smelling to me. So I don't personally enjoy that as much. Oh, hi, Hillary. How are you? Hope you're doing well, my friend. So that's that. I'm gonna go to paper. Let's keep this going because I was originally gonna stop a couple samples ago, but because I've run out of space on. Sorry guys, my phone was acting up. All right, so I'm gonna go grab those other samples real quick, and we will go through some more since I've got paper here, and I'm smelling like a like I've just gone to high school or middle school, and you know how middle schoolers like to cover themselves in freaking perfume to cover up their BO. That's me right now. Alrighty. All right. Settle down. Alrighty. Let's do... Eugene, you better not be causing ruckus over there. I see you. I see what you're doing. Zip your pants back up, buddy. I'm not that sexy. Oh, Jesus. Okay, so let's check this one out. This is Quarzicuro. Oh, man. In the absence of darkness. Oh, yeah, that's definitely leather. That's a leather-based bomb right there. I don't know if the camera's going to pick this up or not, but let's see here. Quasicoro in the absence of darkness. Oh, man. That actually kind of stinks. Yeah, I don't know about that. that one's definitely something. I remember sampling this like 4 or 5 months ago and liking it though. It's very, very in your face leather with like some citrus, and it's coming across as like a citrus cleaner of some kind, and it's a little unpleasant, but we'll see. I've got Chanel's Boy. Speaking of Eugene, we got Chanel's Boy right here that I could talk about. Oh, you're too kind, Rush. You're too kind. All right, let's see what we got. We got Chanel's Boy. How about Atelier d'Orange like this? This seems to be a lot of people's favorite Atelier d'Orange fragrance. So why not? That is nice. I wore this a couple times over the summer. I think that this is more suited for a spring, summer evening or day. It's definitely interesting. I think it's got like a really interesting combination of playful and beautiful and simplistic and clean, and it's just a lot. It's a lot of things all at once. I will say that I know that this is unisex, but I personally find that it's leaning a little bit more feminine. Not that I care. I wear whatever. I mean, my Guerlain collection consists of mostly feminine leaning fragrances. So, yeah, like this is just like a really nice vegetal pumpkin spice, but all very subdued in a way where it comes off as being clean. I don't know. It's nice though. It's a nice one. I haven't tried, what is it, Un Amorous? I haven't tried that. Trash is good, Hillary. For me, Eldo, my favorite is always going to be Jasminette Cigarette. I absolutely freaking adore that fragrance. It's such a weird, unique concoction of cigarette smoke and like a peachy apricot and jasmine, and it's just sexy to me. I don't know. I love that stuff. Okay, next one up. Let's try Olfactive Studio Woody Mood. Russia's in a woody mood, huh? Woody Mood, Olfactive Studio. I remember trying this and not particularly caring for it. It's definitely woody. It's very, it's good. And that's not bad. It reminds me a little bit of a less interesting, a less mature Gucci Porom 1. Yeah, that's not too bad. The brand Olfactive Studio, my favorite fragrance from that brand is Lumiere Blanche. If any of you have tried that, it's kind of a cardamom, vanilla-based fragrance. I really, really enjoy it. If any of you out there enjoy Olfactive Studio, you should let me know which ones you enjoy. Yeah, I'm definitely a fan of Eldo. I think that they bring something to the table that most brands kind of don't. So it's nice to have a brand like that that's just willing to be pretty out there bonkers. I mean, there's one thing I can certainly say. They don't make copycats, and they make fragrances based on, you know, the art of it, which is always nice. Oh, here we go. This is Rania J's Musk Moshas, which is the fragrance that I had mentioned earlier that I really want to purchase this like now. This is such a good strawberry musky fragrance, and it's so fresh and so good. It's one of those that I think I would definitely pull out for spring and summer, and it's just a nice feel-good fragrance. Yeah. Oh man, and this heavily reminds me of Bodacia, the Victorious Glorious. So if you've tried Glorious and it's like a little too expensive for your taste, maybe try Rania J's Musk. I think it's about $160 a bottle, whereas the Glorious in the Extrait or the Pure Parfum bottles are like $300 or something. Man, that's such a good scent though. I love that stuff. All right, let's check it out. What do we got here? We got Chris Collins Renaissance. I don't even know why I'm bothering with this because the lighting is all screwed up and you're not going to read it anyways, but it's Chris Collins Renaissance. Chris Collins is a brand I really have been enjoying, by the way. There's, again, Dance Macabre. Was it Dance Macabre? Dance something or other. I think it's Dance Macabre. The one that heavily reminds me of Straight to Heaven. That is an instant purchase for me. And I think Chris Collins makes some really good quality fragrances. So that one is like a leathery, a clean suede-like note with leather. The Chris Collins Renaissance. I think I definitely, to me, it runs a little bit more unisex. It's more of a unisex leather than like a straight up like barnyard or smoky leather or a very suede-y, sweet, creamy leather. It's kind of in the middle of the road, which makes it a little bit more interesting for me. What else do we got in here? There's a ton of stuff in here, really, but Just trying to find something that's not a dabby. Oh, okay. Well, this one's a dabby, but how about Atelier Cologne's Musk Imperial? This is also one that I've considered for when I run out of my Hachivat or whatever, because I actually find this to be a pretty unique take on trying to copy that whole Aventus cloning thing, because there's fig in this. And I actually think that this smells better. Yeah, imagine if Aventus had fig in it, and that's essentially like a really nice, clean, not a sticky sweet fig, but a nice, clean, fresh, invigorating. Yeah, that's really nice. That is honestly, that's up there. That's up there for a contender for a really nice, clean, crisp, casual wear fragrance that I've kind of had on my radar for a few months now. And there's a little bit of a vegetal note in there too that comes across as like green peppers. Yeah, Ellie Saab's. Yep, Essence Turbo. Yeah, that's definitely a fragrance that's on my radar as well. I've got a sample of it somewhere. I'm a big fan. Tuberose is something that's so bizarre to me, because if you took a look at what I was interested in, I mean, in general, like when we have self-awareness and metamorphosis, and we grow and learn and continue to evolve as human beings, obviously some of our interests and the way that we function and behave changes, or at least it should. And if you just were to look even maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago on my channel, I wouldn't be wearing tuberose to save my life. I hated like those yellow or even white florals. I didn't like heavy floral anything, but now I found that if you pair a fleshy or animalic floral note with something spicy or something gourmandy, then I really enjoy it. So it's just it's finding the balance, you know? But anyways, Atelier Cologne's Musk Imperial, I really enjoy this. I know that it's like kind of a basic ass fragrance, right? Like it's, you know, it's copying that same Aventus DNA, but there's such a great utilization of fig and a green vegetal, almost green peppery note in the opening that just makes it, to me, more enjoyable and more unique than the Aventus. Yeah, the cinnamon tuberose vibe, I'm a big fan of. That's been on my radar as well. It's funny that you bring that up, because I think that's something that I've been trying to kind of like look at other reviewers and see if they've come out with any videos based on them. But I haven't seen much of anything other than on Fragrantica. But yeah, that's a good one. That is definitely a good one. What else do we got here? We got. Oh. Are you guys ready for me to talk shit for a while? I want to know if you're ready for me to go on a little bit of a rant and a shit talking binge. I'm not going to talk shit about people, but just a fragrance. Cafe Tuberose, I have never spent more than $70 on, just so you're aware. I think both times I found eBay, one time I was on Fragrance X for like $72, and then the other time it was on eBay, someone was selling it for like $50 or something like that. But okay, so I am going to now talk shit about this fragrance because I don't understand. And, you know, again, it's totally fine to have your opinions and be subjective to all this, and that's great. That's the whole point. But I'm just doing this to be hyperbolic, so I hope you don't mind. Because really, in reality, I was just talking to Eugene about this, actually. In reality, I'm quite embarrassed about some of the videos that I've made in the past where I've kind of been over the top and angry and dramatic about decisions that some reviewers have made or whatever, and it was just it was me projecting. It was me projecting my own problems and not loving myself. And I don't mean to go on some psychiatric, tangent here, but at the end of the day, like, the more we learn to love ourselves and the more we learn to accept what is, the more we let go of things and little things don't bother us anymore. And you just like put your hands up in the air and say, good, if you're not hurting anyone, then enjoy your life and enjoy your perspective. So really, I don't live in the mental space of flying off the handle about anything anymore, ever. I'm very much in a good place with myself and mentally. So this again is just to be hyperbolic. We are talking about the ever so popular, and I might end it on this, by the way. No more samples after this because my nose needs a break. So, the ever so popular Initio's Oud for Greatness. That's what I just sprayed on this piece of paper here. Okay, well, there you go. Oud for Greatness. Oud for Greatness. God, I hate this, you guys. I absolutely hate Oud for Greatness. I don't understand why it's hyped up so much. It stinks. It stinks. It is bad. And I love all kinds of ouds. I love Tom Ford's Oud Wood. I love skanky, stinky fucking ouds like Le Labo's Oud 27. But I don't get it. How did this get so popular? It smells like an old man. It stinks. It's bad. It doesn't even come across as though it's well blended. It doesn't even smell like real oud. It smells like it came right out of the Ralph Lauren collection, to be honest with you. Yeah, I think it. I personally hate saffron. Like, I hate saffron, and that's probably why I'm not liking this. In fact, so much to the point where, like, when I smell this, it like burns my nose, kind of thing. Like, the back of my throat is tingly, and my nose feels like it's being assaulted. Even on paper, like, it'd be one thing if it was a saffron bomb on my skin. On paper, though, it's not even collecting those top notes of, like, the woodiness and the oody elements and whatever. It's just, it freaking stinks, man. Like, I honestly, you'd get better quality out of a John Varvatos oud, or even the freaking Ralph Lauren's Oud Supreme or whatever is better than this. This just stinks. It doesn't smell like anyone bothered to mix this together well. Yeah, I just get, like, saffron. It's saffron with some really dated smelling wood. And it just comes across as something your freaking grandpa would wear. Like, I couldn't imagine wearing that stuff, I'm gonna be honest. It just stinks. It's bad. And I'm actually, in general, I do enjoy Initio. I own 3 bottles of Initio fragrances. Side Effect, which is one that's hugely popular. That's my least favorite one that I own. Psychedelic Love and Rehab are the other 2 that I own, and I absolutely love both of those. But Oud for Greatness, I bought the sample probably 2 months ago, thinking it would be the next addition to my Initio collection, and I just freaking hate it. It is gross. And in fact, I wouldn't like smelling it on anyone else either. I don't think it's sexy. I don't think it's well blended. I think it's like kind of a mess, actually. And it just begs to ask the question, like, how does a brand like that get away with selling something for $350 or whatever it is, 320, 350, something like that, for something that smells like it's clearly not very well blended, and it's just one note takes over the entire thing, and it's loud and annoying. In fact, like I'm getting kind of a headache from it right now. But you know, again, it's subjective, so I'm sure that there's plenty of people that do enjoy it, but I personally don't get it. I don't get how or why it's been so hyped. It doesn't smell like freaking oud, I'll tell you that much. I've smelt the real deal. I've smelt the real agarwood and it's expensive as shit, which clearly is the reason why the price point is so high on Oud for Greatness, is reflecting that use of oud. But I don't smell any oud in it. I smell saffron and some shitty, like, I don't know, molecule that's being used to create some shitty, like, smoky wood. It doesn't smell like real oud. It smells like something that's already been put together, some formula that's already been put together to make it come off like a smoky oud, but it's just not. It's safe. It's boring. It's loud and annoying. It's just saffron. So much saffron. It stinks. It's bad. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, will they? I doubt it. My channel's too small for them to bother. Did they do that to somebody? That would be something, wouldn't it? But yeah, I mean, for me, Initio has way, way better options than Oud for Greatness. I really, really, really love Psychedelic Love. I love Initio Rehab. Side Effect is good. I don't really wear it as much as I thought I was going to. I'll probably get rid of that bottle, to be honest with you. But Oud for Greatness is just not one that I understand, that I comprehend its popularity. It's not one that I understand could be utilized for much other than like wearing it around your house because it's so loud and in your face and annoying. But yeah, I don't know. I have not tried any Santa Maria Novella fragrances, and I've been meaning to for years because I honestly love the aesthetic of their bottles. They're very like classic looking, and I love the name Santa Maria Novella. That's a good name right there. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna get going. I have to get making some homemade soup. I'm making some potato, broccoli, cheddar, bacon soup for the missus. So I need to start making that for dinner tonight. And some sourdough, 3 cheese, grilled cheese. That is what's for dinner tonight. And I'm so freaking excited. I can't even tell you. I haven't eaten anything today, so that's probably the reason why I'm like food now. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I'm sure that I will be doing this more often, probably at least once a week, because I'm trying to keep myself occupied and keep busy with the things that I love. During these shitty, uncertain times between COVID and losing Ben and whatever else, you know, I'm really trying to grasp it, finding the silver lining, so to speak. And one thing is for certain is my job has made it so that I can kind of take my own time and create my own schedule for work, which has really helped me to kind of decompress and feel what I need to feel when I need to feel it. And that's where we're at, and I'm grateful for that. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Please, again, be sure, if you haven't yet, if you have any recommendations for fragrances that I should try, put them down below, and let me know what your scent of the day was. Again, mine was the delicious Gallivant Los Angeles, which has quickly climbed into one of my favorite fragrances of all time, and I really love it for just giving me this uplifting quality when I need it. It's something that I've worn a lot throughout quarantine, and I'm wearing it now, and it's helped. So that's what it's all about, right? Well, thank you again for hanging out with me, and I will talk to you all soon. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, rest of your week. Until I see you again, smell well, and I will chat with you in the near future. Bye, guys.